I think from if you look at our generation, I think the only tech we had like when we were growing up was TV, and then so much has changed in past 10 years.
True.
And if you look at our parents' generation, it was for them no TV to
Just a
TV,
radio.
and for majority of their life it was radio and TV, and boom, now they have Wi-Fi, they have smartphone, they have iPad, they have smart fridge, all that stuff. So it's crazy. I think uh, it all exists to serve us, and I think it's good. I don't know where it's taking us, but I think today we can discuss and have some understanding of uh, what's gonna happen in the next 10 years. I'm much more excited for that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's my
I
opening
think from
monologue.
what you said, I just recalled. I mean, there is a generic statement that we guys, the 1990s generation, most probably people who have born from 1980s, these guys have seen the most changes. So, I mean, come on, when we were in
Yeah.
college, we had a Symbian phone.
Symbian.
Symbian, yeah.
That's, that's a Nokia. Yeah, we had this Nokia phone. From that, we transitioned to Android. Pretty much
True.
stick to it now. People kind of use iPhone. I mean, a lot of has changed. I mean, simple fact that we ourselves had a CRT TV. I think it was Videocon or something. I don't know. I
Hmm.
cannot recall. But then from that, now we have a smart TV, 3D TV, and whatnot. So uh, things have really changed, and I think for the most part, we as a generation have experienced that change much, much closer, as and when our next generation might experience it. So things might be ready-made for them in a way that we had to kind of adopt for some time and then get used to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think my perspective to that is I do agree to what you're saying. Definitely, I think we are privileged to be in that exact spot, that Goldilocks zone per se for humanity, or something, where we are in a period where we saw a lot of transition from like zero to one or black to white and stuff like that, right? But I also think that why, like I think a lot of generations see that a lot, and generations before us also probably saw that, and generations after us will also see that. But I
Mhm.
think why our generation stands out despite that is, I think, because we saw the transition of something that is very important, which is connecting with people. So we went from a non-internet
Mhm.
era to an internet era, and where now everybody, like, we can do this today, where some of us are sitting in India, some in Europe, some in somewhere else, right? And we can do this. And this was not possible when we were kids. This was not possible to do when we were in school, when we passed 10th standard. I mean, it was
Hmm.
possible, but it wasn't this easily feasible, right? So I
Yeah.
think the most important change that happened in our generation is bringing the world closer and all that stuff because of tech, and that's what sets us apart from, because I think all generations will see, like, let's say, like, we saw 100 transitions, everybody will see somewhere around 98, 102, something like that. But the nature of the change is what I think matters, and that's what we have been blessed to see. Yeah, that's my thing.
That brings up a question to my mind. You were talking about connectivity and connecting with people. How many of you guys remember, recharging your phone, your SIM card with some amount, and then getting Edge Plus,
Yeah.
Yeah.
E
Yeah,
Plus on the
I
internet? How
know.
many of you guys remember that?
I
I
yeah,
do.
I remember that.
10
Dude, that
रुपए का
was
I think
so.
recharge.
that was.
No, no. That those are crazy days. You get a scratch card, you scratch
Yeah.
it.
Oh, scratch card! I forgot
You
about the
you
scratch
dial
card.
star whatever, then somehow put 12 digits, and then you get it wrong. You put it again, and it gets charged. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to have a lot of already scratched cards in my bags, and whenever the I used to run out of money. I used to just try out if the same scratch card would again work again, and I used to hope that it would. And yeah, so it was a fun era because
Did it work though?
getting a scratch card was especially challenging for
Pretty
us.
pretty surprising for a pretty surprising for a tech nerd like you to try this, but sure, I guess.
But I remember it worked at least 2 times for me because I just changed random 2 digits in between and it worked.
Yeah,
So
I
you
mean,
got
I
lucky.
think, uh,
I got lucky.
I guess
yeah,
they probably used MD5 hash generation there rather than SHA, so they had less combinations maybe. Anyways, that's too
Let's not get
yeah,
into
that's
that.
too nerdy, but
not a joke,
yeah.
not a joke incoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amod, Amod is saying something. I just want to get to the chat before we go ahead.
Just-
We have 5S at our office. I don't know what 5S is, but to let us keep limited stuff. They also have rules of how the wires are supposed to be bundled and all. No blades, no sharp things. Yeah, so okay, so I'm guessing what you're hinting at, like the limited stuff, is like hinting towards a little bit of minimalism and how much you're allowed to use when around. You have the opportunity to see three different points from no phones to internet and now social media. What do you think of threshold of tech? Things got uh, slimmer and better, and now plateau. Who remembers CDMA folds? Yeah. Okay, so we'll get to all of those things one by one. But yeah, good point by Amod. Like we did see transition, like we were talking, right? We saw transition, but we saw it from completely no phones. Like when we were born, probably like my dad's first phone was like this black and white Siemens phone with like an antenna on top, and it used to
Hmm.
cost like 5 rupees for outgoing call. BPL was there in India at that time, you know.
Yeah.
And SMS used to cost 2 rupees and all that, and then we saw like all these Symbian phones in our college times, and now
Hmm.
10 years later, or 8 or 10 years later, it's like every kid can use a tablet and phone.
By the way, 'cause I still have Nokia 6600 if you remember.
Oh,
It's pretty cool.
yeah. I think Kedar was saying
No,
something before I
I
interrupted.
mean,
Okay.
you, yeah, I mean, now I have two things to say. So before that, I'll just try to, I was intrigued by the word BPL. I remember a lot of gadgets were there branded as
Yeah.
BPL,
Yeah.
and I wonder what happened to that. And that it seems that the company is still standing. Whereas the full
Did
form of
yeah.
BPL right now, that I mean, after so many years, I got to know that it is actually British Physical Laboratories.
Oh,
That is
Oh,
the full
much
form of BPL,
never
Mm.
knew.
interest.
Never knew.
Mm.
I thought it would
and
be
it's
Bharat something.
The only BPL full form I knew is from ZNMD Bumpelat. So
interesting. I mean, the company
their
is founded
network
in
division.
1963,
Yeah.
Mm.
and like it seems to still be a small
Didn't they?
company and around
Didn't
100
BPL get
crores.
bought by some other company? I think Shark or LG.
No. So their network provider, or the like the ISP kind of scenario, that got taken over by Hutch, which was then taken over by Vodafone,
Oh
which is now taken over by Idea. Basically.
Okay.
no, it's. I think it's more of a partnership now into with Aditya Birla's idea and
Yeah, whatever.
Vodafone.
Vivo, whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was trying to make a point that
Hmm.
I mean those were the days like I guess 2008 2010
Yeah.
when we were in college 11 12th college, and that was the era of edge or 2G plus is what we can understand it in a better way. And then came 3G, and for a long period of time it was there like for 5 to 10 years. Then came 4G, and right now we are still in 4G.
Yeah.
Hmm.
While 5G setup and all these 5G hype is still there, most of us can understand what 5G is. Some of us don't, and some of us just understand that it's the next generation of 4G. That makes
Hmm.
sense. But then, interesting enough is the time with which these changes happened. So, I mean, I was just trying to lay out a perspective in terms of this changes in terms of how telecommunications technology has changed in India, specifically in India. So the time 2G was there. After that, when 3G came, the devices changed. We adopted, we changed our devices. Now came 4G, and now we are becoming 5G ready. So I think personally, if I look back, I think change from 3G to 4G, and now from 4G to 5G is happening at rapid pace.
Yeah.
There are companies, there are telcos that are investing in 6G and 7G. Uh, that's what going on. But then on a major scale, 5G is still there. Maybe at some parts it's still not there. But then there are people who are actually using. I mean, as in the US, Verizon and AT&T, these guys are heavy. They have laid out their infrastructure with 5G, and same is with other countries. So what I wanted to say is the way things are changing is much more rapid now than it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one noticeable change was the size of the devices, especially like we had CRT monitors before, and now if you see, we have very sleek monitors. We had CDs back then, and we don't even have USBs now, right?
Yeah. True.
It's everything online. I still remember buying, going out to buy CD for GTA Vice City, and now I just play the games online. So yeah, pretty much like from hardware perspective and gadgets perspective, the gadgets are becoming more small now.
Look at these thumb
That's what.
drives from the past. Can you
Yeah,
believe these are
blast
artifact of
from the
history
past.
now? Yeah, exactly. Can you believe that? Like,
Yeah.
some of these are okay. Let's see if oh my god, someone remembers this.
I don't have a single one of them because I would lose them or they would get stolen.
Oh my goodness!
Do you remember, Satvik?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
This is your pen drive.
Shit, dude.
Why do you have it?
I don't know. He gave it to me or what? I don't know. This is Abhishek Kulkarni's pen drive.
Abhishek.
Crazy. Kingston. I remember it. It's a
Yeah.
Kingston pen drive.
Exactly.
Nirmik, I still have those CDs.
I know.
CDs
dude,
in which we have burned these different operating systems in which we used to save some data.
Yeah.
I still have that case. There was a red color case, and then I also bought a black one, and then we kept it organized. That okay, this is the OS section, this is the software section, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, and that reminds me, even software updates used to have CDs, dedicated CDs,
Exactly.
right? Driver updates.
6.1, 6.2.
Yes.
Have you guys seen those? I mean, everybody. I know that all of us have seen floppies, the 3.5
Yeah.
inch floppies. But have you seen the bigger floppies? There used to be even bigger
Nah.
floppies before that. I had
Yes,
that at
yes,
my
yes.
home. They
I
used to
think
be this
I
big.
not. I think I
The
saw
only
one before.
thing that I can remember of that size is VCR cassettes.
Yeah, they were rectangular. These were
Yeah.
square, exactly like floppy, just scale it up by 2 inches more.
And
So-
equally thin.
The disc was the size of a record player, right?
Which
It
one?
was this huge. So the floppy disks that you're talking
No,
about.
no, not that.
The actual
players
disk
are this
inside them. Okay.
Record players are this big. No, this big. That floppy was this
Mhm.
big. But for the
Mhm.
thing, I mean, maybe the capacity was same because in floppy there were usually two films. One could be read from here, one could
Yeah,
be read
yeah,
from
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think I think we got lost in the blast from blast kind of scenario, but
I know, right?
Nostalgic.